Greetings, science fiction and fantasy enthusiasts. You're listening to No Deodorant in Outer Space. Now, let's get started.
Okay, hello, this is Dave Wilkinson, one of the guys on the podcast that you're listening to. I'm here with John Doyle, our friend and loyal listener and occasional guest and music designer and all-around good guy. Hey, John.
Hey there, what's happening, Dave?
Hey, good to hear from you again. We're here to do a preview for our True Detective King in Yellow podcast. And John here is a big fan of True Detective. And we are going to let the sparks fly here because it's almost midnight in Michigan, and which is the name of my best-selling first novel. And we are suffering tremendously as we are being forced to do this at the last minute by our dear friend Ryan O'Reilly.
Yes, indeed.
and frankly, I don't even know what your role is with True Detective, what your thoughts are, but I know you've got a newborn and you just spent the weekend recording an album, and you're up here talking to me in almost the middle of the night. So, what's going on, man?
Yeah, in a way, I almost think this is Ryan's payback for hanging out at the studio with me the other night. But basically, been working really diligently on a new record with I Decline. We were doing pre-production for the last couple months on some songs that I think even you guys have probably heard from a long, long time ago that we just never were able to finish. And they are somewhat sci-fi related because they're the galaxies. Basically, we had this composition that was a trilogy of songs that we could never really finish back in the day, and we finally got around to doing so, and now we're kind of putting that trilogy of songs together, and for the first time in many years going back into an actual full-blown recording studio to do this recording. The past couple of records we've done, I've produced the whole thing, and we got the opportunity to work with this really well-known metal producer, Sanford Parker. He's pretty well-known in the underground scene for metal. He's done like Yakuza, ISIS, Neurosis, a bunch of pretty big indie metal bands. So so we're really excited about it. The drums sound bombastic and guitars are just screaming, so it's going to be a great record. I'm really excited about it.
I can't wait to get it, but unfortunately, I mean, I have soundtrack for the rest of your life, and that's all I listen to. I mean, it was an aptly titled album, and sorry, it's a little joke. No, that's great. So, I mean, if we want to pick that up, how will it be on iTunes? We can order from the website. What's the best way to get it?
Yeah, that's kind of an interesting question for us right now, because the last time we put out a record was kind of like at the cusp of the end of the digital CD release age. I mean, it was really kind of the very trail end of it, and I mean, barely anybody was putting out CDs almost even at that point. And since then, that was like, what, 4, 5, 6 years ago now? Almost.
It's a while. Yeah.
It's been a while, I think. 2013. No, maybe it wasn't that long ago. 2012, 13. But anyway, so now, like, since then, vinyl has just taken off. People are just like, the only medium that people are actually buying is vinyl.
I think it's because it's a transition in who has money now, because I went to the store Urban Outfitters, which is in downtown Ann Arbor, and it's been there since I was 14. I'm now almost 40, and there's my wife, and we're like, let's just go check it out. We haven't been there since we were in high school. We go in there, and they have probably 70, 80 vinyl records for sale right when you walk in at Urban Outfitters.
Sure.
And then we're walking around the store, and I kept saying to myself, I remember the store being really expensive, but it's kind of cheap now. And she just turns to me and says, well, you have more money now than when you were 14. I'm like, oh yeah. And it's true. I'm buying vinyl records now. I have about 20, and to me, it's like a throwback to my dad's records when I was a kid. You know, it's some of the artists I really like Jack White, Eddie Vedder, Pearl Jam, always put out their stuff in vinyl, and I make a point of trying to get it. And it's kind of fun. I miss going to the music store, and it's kind of I don't know. I enjoy trying to find vinyl. It's the hunt that makes it kind of fun.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that we're finding now. With that's you asked the question of what we're going to put this out on. I don't know. I think it'll be released digitally in some some sort of form, where people can just go and listen to it without having to even make a purchase, just so they can actually hear it. And then we'll probably have some sort of physical medium for people who want that sort of thing. The question is, do we want to fork out the money to do vinyl? But, the one thing that's kind of a benefit for metal, and to a certain extent rock, but definitely metal, is that those fans, they want to buy stuff. They just seem to want to buy stuff, and it doesn't really matter what it is. So,
well, I would buy an Ida Klein vinyl record. I know I could probably think of at least 4 or 5 people in Michigan that probably would buy it too. I'll throw out Dave Allen there. No, I mean, I picked up some stuff on iTunes, I think, too. I'm down because you are on iTunes too, I believe.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Definitely.
Oh.
I mean, we've sold quite a few downloads on iTunes and just spins on Spotify and whatnot. We've made some, not a tremendous amount of money, but more than we would have ever made before. But
it's good just getting you out there too, because I've told stories about Ida Klein to even people I work with, and then they're like, oh, I give them an iTunes link, and they listen, they like, they don't like, but it's very easy to show what you're what you're all about. I have a buddy who had some orange speakers and had a mini orange amp. I'm like, oh man, you'd like this band. So he checked you guys out on iTunes. I think he got a few of your songs. So
nice.
True story. So, anyways, I forget what we're supposed to talk about. You like True Detective, right?
I do like True Detective. I was talking to Ryan about. We've been actually working on this companion video piece for the Vonnegut, episode that you guys did about what was that book?
Slaughterhouse
Five. That's right. Yeah. So I was working diligently with Ryan on editing the video that we captured over a weekend over at Vonnegut Home with Rick, and we're kind of getting close to finishing that up. It's actually turned out a lot better than I even expected it to be, and I think you're going to actually dig it, Dave. It's pretty cool. So I was finishing that up, and we were just talking about it. I asked him, hey, what are you guys reviewing next? And he told me, we're doing, he said that Dave, you had recommended that you guys do this King in Yellow. And I was like, King in Yellow, that sounds familiar. And sure enough, we got to talking. It's like, oh yeah, True Detective. Yeah, I've been watching it. I'm like a fanatic of at least the first season is fantastic. And, I had no idea that there was a book until we were talking.
Yeah. It's loose. I mean, it kind of inspired or was used as the backdrop for even a red herring at times. But yeah, I read the book long after I watched the series, and that first season of True Detective, I haven't watched the second one. Just kind of, it was such a breath of fresh air. I mean, I remember I just loved it because it did what things were supposed to do. It had integrity, quality, and consistency. Which, I mean, things are so bad right now in the entertainment world that just to have someone do something properly was a slap was brilliant to me. I mean, just one writer, one director, one story, told well, eight shows and out. I loved it.
Yeah, I gotta agree with that. The acting's phenomenal. The story's really captivating. It's without spoiling anything. I gotta say, like, it's a slow start, but then once it gets going, it's like a train ride. It just keeps going, and you want to know what happens next.
Yeah, it still kind of haunts me too, just in the scenes, and I felt really invested in the characters. I can't explain why it's so good, other than that it's worth watching.
I'll tell you what,
a great show.
The aspect that got me, because in many ways it's like a lot of other of these kind of detective or CSI type of shows, in the sense they're hunting down a serial killer. I'm a big fan of Hannibal. I like that show. You dig that show too?
I'm hoping it finds a new home. I heard it got canceled. I haven't. I mean, it's the first 2 seasons, and again, I'm waiting to binge on the last one. Probably, I've literally watched them twice, and I don't have time to watch anything once. But I mean, it's just so well written, and there's so many. It's just so well thought out and planned. I love that show.
Yeah, I think the same kind of thing too. It's the same, like, one writer, one director, same sort of thing, like you were saying. But anyway, so I think that in some ways, True Detective is a lot like that, but the thing that really grabbed me, that made me keep watching, was Matthew McConaughey, man. I mean, and not only that, like, the contrast between his character and Woody Harrelson's character, just insane. So well done. Like, you've got, without getting into the details of what happens, but you've got the one guy who's supposedly crazy and kind of almost like an existentialist and thinking like the world is not even worth being a part of, and Matthew McConaughey's character. So everyone kind of thinks of him as like, oh, maybe he's the killer, maybe he's the bad guy. The whole time you kind of got this in the back of your mind. And then on the other flip side, you got Woody Harrelson, who's supposed to be this family guy, a really well-rounded individual, and he's trying to, bring Matthew McConaughey's character down to earth again. But then that turns it on its head, and you find out, well, maybe he isn't such a great guy after all. Maybe actually he's the bad guy in this, not necessarily a killer, but just a bad guy all around. So it really explores character development, and that's what I really liked about that show more than anything.
Right, and in a short amount of time too. I mean, but it's very effective in how it does that. But you know what? This is supposed to be a short. We've already gone, I think, twice as long as we're supposed to go here. So I feel I'd be amiss if I didn't throw in a few asides at some personal attacks on Ryan or Rick, but I didn't have time for that, to be honest. So they're excellent human beings. Ryan works very hard on this podcast, and we give him a lot of crap, but it's coming along, and it's fun to do. So I think you can tune in for the episode coming up in a few weeks here, the True Detective episode. It's gonna be a little different. It's gonna be more focused on the visual, the medium, than the written medium this time, but it'll be a pretty great episode to watch. And John, Dole, we appreciate your presence and your help and support of the show. And again, we don't have a date for that Vonnegut video, correct? But it's coming soon.
Yeah, it's coming pretty soon. We're near completion. It's turning out really good. I think Ryan told me to ask you about. He said he had some sort of surprise announcement or something in this next show.
He does have a surprise announcement, which he's been very coy about. I've asked him if he's homosexual. He said no. I asked him if he's getting a major publishing deal. He said no. I asked him if he's quitting his job, and he said no. So I don't know. I mean, I can't imagine it being interesting. So I'll be surprised. I'll be surprised if it's at all surprising. But maybe he got a new bird. I don't know. I mean, he's got at least one bird that I know of that's terrible, and it's dead. I don't know. Maybe he'll start the show with somebody's head in a bag, and it'll be someone we know. I haven't heard from George in a while, but yeah, he's got a surprise. God knows what it is. He's not gay and he's not famous, so somewhere in between those two things, I guess.
Yeah, I can't possibly imagine what this surprise could possibly be.
Yeah, maybe someone's pregnant. That'd be a surprise.
Maybe he's pregnant.
Maybe he's got some kind of spider egg laid in his belly. It'll. That would make for some great sci-fi right there. It would. I mean, yeah. It's going to be a big surprise. It's going to be shocking. But I mean, I'll know what it is before the show's broadcast. If it's really that interesting, I'll tell half our listeners via text.
Only half.
So, yeah. Well, I'll tell Dave Allen.
Oh, okay.
The rest will spread from there. But okay. So Ida Klein's dropping a new album. Do you have a title for the album?
Not yet, really. No, that's the thing is we're going to do these galaxies, and we've got some other material too that probably tag on there too. But yeah, no idea on the title yet. But you can always keep, check us out at www.i-decline.com and find out the latest and greatest.
Awesome, and you're on iTunes as well. So
yes,
I think we're gonna. I have nothing to plug right now because I'm kind of a slacker, and although I did just win a big case in the Court of Appeals, but that's just not podcast worthy. All right, I'm going slap happy. I've got to go take care of my 2-year-old. You go take care of your 3-month-year-old. And thanks again, John.
Yeah, no problem, Dave.
All right, later.
Take care.
Thanks. Bye.
For more information on the topics discussed in this episode, or to read our show notes and find us on social media, visit nodeodorant.com. Thanks for listening to our show. And always, always remember, there is no deodorant in outer space.